everyone, welcome to Two Girls One Plot. I'm Darcy.
I'm Hannah.
And this is our new series Between the Pages, which is very exciting. So this series is just a short podcast where we interview various different people within the bookish community. It can be anybody from authors or anybody within like the publishing industry, even some influencers or just some general readers that we can pick off the street.
People that have different opinions
Yes.
on books that we might be interested in.
Yes. Today we're going Between the Pages with Elle DeYesso.
So Elle is an indie author from the Midwest, which is in America.
Yeah, very
for
important.
non-Americans like us, just to clarify. So she is a sci-fi romantasy fan, and that's what all of her books are about. She's just come out with a new series called It's Definitely Not Aliens. The first book is out now, Stardusted, and this is part of a trilogy. The second book is coming out on the 12th of February, and we're hoping the third book will come out later this year, maybe in the autumn or the fall. Yeah, the fall.
I will leave links to all of her social media and links to where you can get the books if you are interested, so please go and check that. And again, if you want us to interview anybody in particular, please let us know in the comments or message us. If you want to come on, DM us.
We hope you enjoy this episode of us speaking to Elle.
Enjoy! Hi Elle, how are you doing? You okay?
I'm great. How are you guys today?
We're good. So this, everybody, is Elle DeYesso. She's our indie author that we're going to chat to today about many things, but mainly her It's Definitely Not Alien series.
Definitely not aliens.
Definitely not aliens.
No hint of aliens at all.
Nothing.
No
So
aliens.
do you want to give a little intro of yourself and the series for somebody who hasn't heard of you before or the series before?
All right. I'm an indie author, brand new to the scene. The first book, and Definitely Not Aliens, came out in October. So it's, October 28th. So it's only been like a few months. Next one comes out here February 12th. So I write sci-fi and fantasy romance. Love a slow burn, banter, messy, complicated main characters, as you guys know since you've read that first book.
Exactly. Well, I've read the first book and I'm about 3/4 of the way through the second one now as well.
You have started that one? Oh,
yeah. Had the pleasure of reading it a little bit early before it actually comes out. But yeah, as you described it then, as like the sort of the slow burn, the comedy, but it's not just that. It's also it's quite it's really tense in places, almost like thriller in some parts of it. I was gripped.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I like to kind of describe it as it doesn't really have a genre. They're just a kind of a bunch of genres just sort of mashed up into one.
I've written comedy, romance, thriller, suspense. Like I was like, oh no, wait, it's a sci-fi. So that really
and some definitely not aliens either.
Oh, absolutely not. No, there's no aliens in it at all. I thought, there were some bits I thought were just really fun. I've got the classic dry British sense of humour, and it was just, it really spoke to me at times. It was just even the chapter titles that you've used, every chapter title, like you've been really creative with the way that you've done that. So even that, I was like, oh, funny.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment.
Oh, good. I'm 3/4 of the way through the second one, and I won't give too much away, obviously, for people who haven't read it. But I think the biggest suspense and the biggest thriller moment for me was not what you'd think of the main parts of the thriller. So there's obviously some fighting, some battle bits. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. In the second book, there's a really tense moment where she does something that she probably shouldn't have done, and it all gets very. I can't say anything else, but it was. But I had to keep reading that. I've obviously got onto that bit about midnight last night, and then had to read that whole bit through.
Oh no! You got to that part at midnight? No.
I'm reading really badly.
I know. I'm like a bedtime reader, and it is a nice bedtime read because I found when I was going to bed, I was looking forward to getting back into it each day. So, but then I was up to 2 a.m. reading it. So.
I am a bedtime reader too. I never used to be, but now it's kind of a way to shut my brain off at the end of the day. but it does bite you, because then next thing you know, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, oh, just one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter, and then it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, oh no, mistakes.
Switch off after I've like read like because I've just finished Fourth Wing last night, and it literally took me like an hour and a half to not think about it and to like go to it's like whenever I bedtime read, I just all I do is think about it. I might as well just be scrolling on my phone.
Is this your first read of Fourth Wing then?
Yeah.
Oh no.
World, aren't I? I'm new to the reading world.
Oh.
Yeah, well, this is my first sci-fi series. I've read
ever.
I've read romantasy kind of series and just romance and just fantasy as well. But yeah, sci-fi, no. And we did say on an earlier podcast that we thought a little alien world might be quite fun. So this is our first one, and really, really good. Really loving it.
You know, I've had a few people say that, and I'm hesitant to market it that way, but I think when I wrote this series, I was looking for something that was kind of like a blending out there, because for anybody that hasn't looked at the series yet, that the aliens look human, so they're not like they don't have they don't have what you would say alien anatomy, so you wouldn't know that they're aliens by looking at them. So maybe it would be a little bit more accessible for somebody just starting off in the sci-fi genre. And it takes place here on Earth. You know, there are some spaceships, but they're not as, you know, you're not flying around in a solar system. So, you know, it's like a gateway sci-fi.
Oh no.
I think that's what's like so good about this sort of thing, because fantasy is such a big genre and you can fit so much into it. And so when we were like, what was it, at Christmas, wasn't it? We were like, one of our New Year's resolutions, we want UFOs, we want sci-fi, we want aliens. And then you appeared like a little UFO spotlight.
Someone called.
We were like, yes, sign us up, we're ready.
It's like, I heard.
Yeah, it was great timing. So
that is.
When you were writing your book and your characters and whatever, which characters did you find that were like really easy to write, and you were like, yeah, I know exactly what this person's going to be, I know like they're a reflection of whoever you know in your life or whatever? And did you have any like characters that are just not easy to write and were just fighting you every step of the way, where you're like,
So Raven, the main character, very easy to write. I don't know why. She is just, I don't know if maybe there's says something about me, but her just classic bumbling through, doing her best while this craziness is going on around her, has just been very easy for me to kind of translate onto the page. Her counterpart, Sky, was actually very, very difficult to write.
Hey.
I don't know. I think it was, I really didn't want to write the classic alpha male. Nothing wrong with that. You know, I read plenty of alpha males myself, but I didn't want that to be his character archetype. I wanted the protective birdie kind of vibe, but I wanted a twist on it. So I was like, how could I walk that fine line while also giving him kind of a little bit of a softer side? And he was a little tricky to write. It wasn't until the second book that I really feel like I was able to, I know him where I could, and I don't know if that translates. Some people have told me it does, but he was hard. He was hard to get to that. Now his partner, which you do meet in the second book, super easy to write.
Yeah, he's easy to write, did you say?
Oh yeah. I feel like he's probably, don't tell him I said this, but he's probably my favorite character.
Oh really? Oh, that's interesting. Does he remind you of people that you know, or is he kind of a mixture of all sorts of different people? Because
I think he is interesting, and he gets a little bit more interesting as the series goes too, because there are 5 books total. They are all done. So yes.
I did wonder, because you've like bashed them all out. Like if you only did the first one in October, like published it, and this one's now coming out in February, it's like
damn.
Yeah, I waited. I didn't want to start rolling the series out because this is my first foray into publishing. I didn't know exactly what I was going to get into. I knew I wanted to do this myself, which is why I took the indie route, but I wasn't sure, it's a little daunting. I wanted to have a series done before I took this endeavor. So, yeah, they're yeah.
That's so
So that's how
exciting. Do you know what? I've been introduced to the actual physical copy of the book today because I'm a Kindle reader.
Oh,
Darcy's copy, and because on the Kindle you can't see how thick it is. And like I said, I was reading it quite quickly, and I did not expect it to be that thick. I was just like absorbing it like that. I was like, oh my god, I'm proud of myself. I've got to. But that is, it really hooks you, especially in the night.
I was actually shocked when I got the first physical copy and realized how thick it was. I was like, oh, whoops.
Yeah, she came and I was like,
I have my words quite big on the Kindle as well, so I was like, oh my god, the words are tiny.
Oh yeah, I'm already like 75% done. I only started reading yesterday of the second one, and I was like,
I was expecting like a leaflet, but
how have you done this?
Well, I mean, also impressive because that's the second.
Wow.
This is the second book, so
yeah, okay. I'm doing well. I reckon I'm going to finish this tonight. See, all my books are the same size. So I can never tell. I remember reading, was it Fourth Wing, or one of the Fourth Wing books? I can't remember. I was kind of going through it. I was like, oh my god, where am I? Like, oh no, it wasn't. It was Alchemized.
Oh, Alchemized, yeah. That was it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, forever and ever.
She's a beast.
She's a big gal.
You know what one did that to me is When the Moon Hatched. That book, I didn't realize how thick that book was until I bought the physical copy. That sucker is like this big, and I read that in like a day.
Oh my god.
You get lost.
I didn't eat, didn't sleep, got that book done though.
Just about.
So another thing that we were going to ask you about these books is everyone's always interested about the tropes and where they come from and that sort of thing. So we were wondering, were there any tropes that kind of came out maybe more unexpectedly that you didn't set out to write, but they just felt like they came into it? Or what were your favorite sort of tropes that you were writing in the books as well?
So obviously I am a sucker for slow burn. I love reading slow burn. I love writing slow burn. Every book that I write is a slow burn book. There's something about the slow evolution of a relationship that I really enjoy that process. I feel like as a reader, I really like when the author can make me fall for the character at the same time that the main character is falling. I really like that. So I really like to do that as a writer as well. So that when that started happening with Stardust, and I was like, all right, we're going for that. I think that was the biggest one that I started out doing, and it kind of came. I think it worked. I mean, I got yelled at a little bit in reviews in the first book. People were like, "Why?"
But it worked.
Well, thank you. But as for ones that were unexpected, let me look at my trope tree to see what people have claimed, because there were some that I when I put this out, I was actually surprised by some of the things that people said were tropes that they had.
Other people have decided them for you.
Yes.
And you're like,
every once in a while I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't see that one coming. So the protective vibe, the broody protective vibe from the first book was actually something that I was pushing Sky towards, but I didn't realize how much that had come across until people started saying like such a protective male character, such a protective male character. I didn't expect it to come across as strongly as it did. So that was one that I leaned into as the series has progressed. But yeah, other than that, I think that slow burn was my main one.
Oh, that's really interesting that, characters come across in the way that you maybe hadn't necessarily consciously intended.
Well, I think that's part of the most interesting thing about writing in an age where social media is so accessible. Is the immediate feedback. Not something that I had expected to impact me as much as it has, whether it's like reviews or, I mean, even messages or just seeing responses to your content as quickly as it does. I mean, it, you know, and you hear mixed things about whether or not you're supposed to pay attention to those things, but I think it's important that you do. I mean, what's the point of writing if you're not writing for your readers, I guess?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, that actually leads on perfectly to our next question.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
First time. So, like, how's you felt then, like, with how social media is so like prevalent these days, and like, you know, we've got like AI and everything, and it's, you know, damaging,
Yes.
you know, the artistic
Mhm.
world. Has it sort of like changed how you write and how you like view like your readers whenever, like, with social media?
I do think that as a writer, you feel a little bit more accessible. I think that there's almost like an obligation to respond in a way. There was a big debate that I saw the other day on, I forget what social media platform, it might have been Threads, and I didn't know that this was a thing. Apparently, you're not supposed to respond to reviews, even if, like, when somebody tags you in like I read this book and it was so great. Apparently, it's a frowned upon to respond. I do. I don't see myself stopping anytime soon, but I guess that's not something that you're supposed to do.
I suppose maybe it's like because you're an indie author, I guess you don't have like a PR publishing
No.
house like
Absolutely.
you can't do this. Well, like I suppose you've probably got a bit more freedom compared to like
Yeah.
other authors.
Well, and if I, and I'm a reader. I mean, I'm an avid reader. I read 200 books a year. If I were going to take the time to write out, hey, I really loved this book. This is why. And tag an author, I would want them to see it and to know that, like, this is why I appreciated your work of art. I didn't even think about the fact that maybe there's a line there. So I think that's the weird thing about social media and being on there as an author, being so accessible, having those weird blurred lines when it comes to, you know, all of them. I mean, TikTok, Facebook, we're all like one big amoeba community when it comes to bookstagram, book talk, authors, all of it. Sometimes it's not really clear where the boundaries are, if that makes sense. Or like, I mean, very early on, I had just published Stardusted. No, it was just out for ARCs. I got tagged in a negative review. Somebody had tagged me in a DNF and said, like, I didn't finish this book because of X, Y, and Z. It was one of the first ARCs I'd ever sent out, so it was only out for a couple days. And that one sent me for a little bit of a spiral, which everybody's obligated to their own opinions. I would never say that, like, somebody shouldn't post anything like that. But that was something that I'd never seen on social media on this side of things. So yeah. I think it goes both ways. I absolutely adore the community, the street team, and you guys have seen the street team aspect of it. It's been awesome, and I wouldn't change that for the world. But there is also a flip side of it, you know, the accessibility.
Yeah, that must be. And you were talking about like the, you know, the rules and the boundaries, and they're also like just change all the time as well. Like, you know, trends and all sorts of things. So you can, I get that. It must be quite confusing to navigate that sort of a world.
It is on both sides. I mean, as a bookstagram, or, you know, a book influencer, and as an author, like, it just, or as an indie author versus a traditional author, like, it's just a big giant blurred line.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, we have a final question, and this is a question that we're going to be asking to all the different people, all our guests that come on, just to kind of get a bit of a lay of the land, and so we can see what everyone's thinking. So, if you had to go into a fantasy world of some sort, so probably, you know, from another books that you've read or your own worlds or whatever, where would you go if you had to live there, and why would you go there?
That is such a hard question, you guys.
We always ask the hard-hitting questions.
I know. See, because the tough part is, it's like, your immediate reaction is, well, like, I would love to live in a fantasy world, magic, dragons, or sci-fi, and spaceships. But then there's like also, I want to say A Court of Thorns and Roses because it's one of my favorite fantasy series. But there's a big war going on in that book series, and there's a lot. And who doesn't know how to use a sword? This girl. Like,
You know how to ride a dragon?
Don't know how to ride. Don't know how to ride a dragon. Or like, I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. Don't know how to fly a spaceship. Don't want to go in one of those.
Well, maybe that's why your world works so well, because your world is our world. It's just got a few little sprinkling of aliens in there as well. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe I go into that world and there's just some hot undercover aliens, There's some very hot undercover alien in the second book. So.
Yeah, true. Well, that's the sign of a good book. You're obviously enjoying what if that's your chosen world to go into. I would choose my own. Thank you very much.
No, I still think I'm gonna have to say A Court of Thorns and Roses.
There's definitely some upsides to being there.
Which court would you be in? That's the question.
A Night Court for sure.
Obviously, it's only one right answer, isn't there? I think.
Only right answer.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your lovely books.
Thank you for getting a copy.
Yeah, well, when it's available, is it the 20th? I will get the second one. There's a new set.
Yeah, I'm so excited to know that there's 3 more coming as well. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the third one should be out by like fall time, I think, of this year is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah. Oh, exciting.
We're ready to devour all of that.
I'm ready. Well, I'll probably finish it tonight, so I've got a bit of a gap, but I'm here. I'm ready. I'm waiting.
I can't wait to hear what you think.
And thank you so much for being our first guest on Between the Pages.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun.
Thank you so much.